caught up in tomato pie here, Anthony. And
it's very timely, actually, Bill, because one of the biggest fans of Utica food is the Speaker of the New York State Assembly. So
really,
when he came up to Utica 2 years ago, he was doing a tour of upstate, and he came to Utica. So I decided that when he's here, we're going to bring him greens and riggies and all the fun stuff. And he was such a big fan of the greens and the riggies. Every year, he wants me to bring him a tray from Utica out, and he saw the article in the New York Times last week about Utica greens from Chesterfield.
Yep, and Joe Morelli,
He grabbed me afterwards, and he said, I need some of those greens. So yesterday I had a tray of riggies and a tray of greens come out to Albany and fed a lot of the staff out here, and he was a big fan. He had lunch, and he brought some home for dinner, too.
That's awesome. I got to tell you, those dishes, and you saw it in the New York Times story, they're beginning to spread, and, you can get them in Orlando and Florida and South Carolina and of course, down in the city, Rhode Island, Boston. They're starting to spread, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the majority leader of this assembly as well. His name is Joe Morelli, who's originally from Utica. His cousin is Morelli, who invented the greens Morelli. Joe Morelli, the greens maker, hooked us up with Joe Morelli, the legislator, and we spoke with him maybe a year or so ago. It's kind of funny. People they ask him, "Are you the guy that you're the one that made the greens?" So it's kind of funny. All right, Mo, what do you think? Yesterday, of course, a new executive order, immigration. I know you've been big on this, and we're seeing some really very horrible scenes of some hate crimes and all of this stuff that's going on right now. What are your thoughts on all of it? Well, as far as the hate crimes go, it's really sad. You're seeing it across the country with these bomb threats at Jewish community centers, or setting fires at mosques, or shooting at an Indian man out in the street. It's really there's no need for this kind of behavior in 2017. There's really never a need for this behavior. It's unfortunate acts of violence and hate. And we actually had a nice rally in Utica last week at the Jewish Community Center, and we had people of Christian faith and Jewish faith and Muslim, all there hand in hand, really just saying, we may have some differences, but we really, at the end of the day, need to be tolerant of each other's different beliefs and try and work together. That's what we've seen that in our community, because we have such a welcoming community. So fortunately, we haven't seen a lot of the hateful acts happen in the Utica area. But you always have to be vigilant and make sure you're reporting those kinds of crimes.
Yeah. But, nearby Rochester, I mean, that's...
Yeah, there was one bomb threat at the JCC out there yesterday, I think it was.
And they had also damage at a predominantly Jewish cemetery. So really, you hate to see these things. And I don't know what's causing it. I understand that people are saying, well, this is Trump's rhetoric, but his daughter is now Jewish, and his grandchildren are Jewish. I don't know. It's almost like people are using all of the storyline, the current storyline, where people are talking about immigration and refugees and race, and they're taking advantage of the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to blame the president. Everyone's responsible for their own acts, and if you're going to be an idiot, you should be held accountable for it. So.
Yeah. Also, talking about there's with the healthcare issues, and now there's a plan in the House to repeal Obamacare. What about Medicare? I think there are a lot of seniors that are nervous. What do you see?
I think a lot of seniors, the reason they're nervous is because you have a Speaker of the House who has talked about voucher plans in the past, and he's helping craft the health care laws. You have a new Health and Human Services Secretary, Tom Price, who was the biggest proponent of vouchers for Medicare, and now he's in charge of crafting this new program. So there is some concern. Fortunately, the president has said he's not going to touch Medicare, and I hope he stands true to that promise. But again, I think it would be a shame to see this wonderful 50-year-old program, which has provided health benefits for seniors for so many years, go away, because without that, they would lose their coverage and be put into more expensive plans that, frankly, many would go without if they didn't have the Medicare promise.
Right. And is the future? Is the future murky? I'm looking at this headline right here.
Well, there's a lot on the national front. You have concerns over healthcare policy, the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, people possibly losing health insurance, states having to take a bigger impact if there is a cut to Medicaid. It could cost
a place like New York of over $1 billion. Where we'd have to find that money to make up that loss. You have concerns on the international level with North Korea testing intercontinental ballistic missiles and what looks like a buildup of forces over there, which is scary because they are a power to be reckoned with, and we have to take them very seriously, especially if they have nuclear capability.
I want to talk, if we could, just briefly on the county, the state of the county the other day, where Anthony Pacini made some pretty big statements, some pretty big plans. What are your thoughts? A casino downtown Utica?
Yeah, I heard about it before the state of the county. I talked to the county executive a little bit about the plans. They seem very bold, and I'm interested in learning a lot more detail about what that entails. But it's exciting that we have this auditorium downtown where the Comets and the UC Pioneers are very successful, and we want to build on that. We want to try and capitalize on that. So if you see, the expansion of the Aud, adding more suites to the Aud will help solidify both the Comets and the Pioneers' presence there. But then building and adding on to that by making a sports and entertainment type complex to draw more tourists into the region, I think is a good thing to do in that particular area. It's something we should be with.
Yeah.
When you talk about nano and other types of industries, people don't want to move to an area if there's not things to do.
Right,
so
right.
That's where we have to really focus. In addition to bringing nano, we have to make sure that the amenities are here so people want to come to this region, so there's things for them to do when they are here.
And adding, so if the United Nation were to, I'm assuming they would be behind the casino here, and to add that here, would Oneida County reap the benefits? I guess they would of the sales tax, which isn't a sales tax, but the deal that we put together. How's that going to work?
There's a lot of steps in the process. You have to get state approval. You have to have federal approval to add more land and trust. There has to be agreements as to revenue sharing, and I think, from what I understand, the city of Utica would be a beneficiary of that because they are the host community. So, it is a way to generate more revenue for the local government, but also trying to bring that attraction into the Utica area to draw more people downtown into a fun event.
Do you think Mayor Palmieri is on board with this? It would take, obviously property. You're adding a craft beer museum, which sounded very, very interesting. Is the mayor on board, and does he have to be? Could the mayor step in the way of this if he wasn't on board? What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to say. I think he has an open mind. At least I've had brief discussions with him about it, and I certainly think he has an open mind. Of course, he wants to learn more detail about that before he commits to doing anything. But I think he certainly has an open mind and is willing to look at the plans. And hopefully, if there's something that benefits the city and the county and the taxpayers in the region, everyone will be on the same page. But we got a lot of steps to do before we even get to that process of looking at a site or any of that stuff.
All right. And finally, the hospital. Everything is moving forward on the hospital, still with the target of downtown?
That's my understanding. They have completed the necessary paperwork from the State Department of Health, which was a request for application that was due at the end of January. They submitted that, showing how they come up with the financing and other things, and they're waiting to hear back from the State Department of Health. My understanding was sometime in March.
All right.
Now, I don't trust any timeline the state ever puts out there, so who knows?
I don't think we can trust anymore. And then again, we keep hearing rumblings that something is about to happen up in Marcy, and it's just it's a matter of time that something's going to be announced. What are you hearing? I'm assuming you can't tell us anything if you did know anything, but what are you hearing?
I'm confident that for the Quad C building, that GE and their partners are going to be moving forward with that project in the near future. That's something I'm very confident about. The Marcy site across the street there continues to attract a lot of interest from companies around the world who see the site as a shovel-ready site with a significant amount of funding attached to it. So there is drawn considerable attention from many companies who are interested. So there's more leads on that site